So today we will discuss about the pre-prosthetic surgery. So why we need the pre-prosthetic surgery? So that when we are giving any prosthesis in the oral tissue, then we have to consider for the soft tissue as well as the hard tissue. So what we do, what is the definition? Surgery performed to prepare the remaining oral tissue to best support a prosthesis. Includes the soft tissue and hard tissues. So what are the objectives of the pre-prosthetic surgery? To provide a comfortable tissue foundation and support for the support of the denture or any brace or any implant processes, proper jaw relation in the anterior posterior, transverse and vertical dimensions. So by the jaw relation we have to see these all things. And next objective is the alveolar process that are as large as possible and of the proper configuration. The ideal shape of the alveolar process is a broad U-shaped, horseshoe shaped ridge, and with the vertical component we have to check, as well as the parallelism of the processes we have to check. So these are the objectives for the pre-prosthetic surgery. No bony or soft tissue protuberance or undercuts. If they are present, then prior to giving the processes we have to remove these things. Adequate attached keratinized mucosa in the primary denture bearing area, and adequate vestibular depth for the retention, stability and support for the processes, and adequate form and tissue coverage for possible implant placement. Like in maxilla we have to do sinus surgeries, and in mandible we have to do the nerve lateralization procedures. Patient evaluation and treatment planning. First we have to take the proper history, and then we have to examination physical, intraoral, extraoral. Then we have to check the soft tissue and hard tissue support. Now comes on the classification. There are three types of classification that in prosthetic surgery we have to perform. That is the corrective surgical procedures, ridge extension procedure and ridge augmentation procedures. So in corrective procedures, again we have to divide in soft and hard tissue. In soft tissue we have to do frenectomy, excision of the flavi ridges, excision of the denture induced granuloma, and reduction of fibrous tuberosity. In hard tissue, again we have to do alveoloplasty, removal of toroid, tuberosity reduction, myeloid ridge correction and genial tubercle reduction. Now bony recontouring of the alveolar ridge, that is known as the alveoloplasty. So first when we are going for the multiple tooth extraction, that is at the same time we have to perform the alveoloplasty. Then we have to compress the socket in both directions, labially as well as palatally, or in mandible lingually. Interseptal alveoloplasty, this is the Dean's technique, involves removal of the interseptal bone and repositioning of the labial cortical, done immediately after tooth extraction or in the initial post-operative healing period. Technique is best used when the ridge of regular contour and adequate height but present on undercut to the depth of the labial vestibule. Labial prominence of the ridge can be reduced with significant reducing the height of bone. Mainly the buccal and palatal aspect we have to reduce the length. Interseptal alveoloplasty, periosteal attachment to the underlying bone. This reduces the post-operative bone resorption and remodeling. Muscle attachment to the alveolar ridge can be left undisturbed. What we do in interseptal, we have to remove the interdental bone and then we fracture the labial base, two vertical cut in the canine region, and then we press digitally we press the labial bone towards the palatal side as shown in the diagram. Now comes on the maxillary tuberosity reduction. Horizontal or vertical axis of the maxillary tuberosity area can be due to excess bone, soft tissue excess, and both. So on pre-operative evaluation we have to clinical examination, radiological examination to locate the floor of the maxillary sinus in the posterior region. Objectives for the hard tissue: to provide adequate interarch space and a firm mucosal base of the consistent thickness. This is the overhanging picture showing This is the overhanging tissue in the molar area. So we have to cut the excess area with the help of BP knife, and then after removing the excess tissue we have to suture it again. So there is the no flabby tissue in the molar region, so our processes will get proper retention. Now comes on the mylohyoid ridge reduction. So mylohyoid ridge is present in the mandible on the lingual aspect in the posterior region. So we have to give a linear incision on the ridge, then we reflect the tissue on the lingual side and reach the mylohyoid ridge, and we have to remove the muscle attachment from the mylohyoid ridge. Then with the help of bone file or rotary instrument we have to contour the mylohyoid ridge for the adaptation of the processes on the lingual side. Now comes on the genial tubercle. They are present on the anterior mandible on the lingual aspect. Now comes on the maxillary tori. They are mostly present in the bony exostosis, present on the mid palate or in mandible on the lingual side in the premolar region. Origin is unclear, found twice as much in females than in males. Single smooth elevation to multiloculated pedunculated mass. They can cause speech problem, ulcers, interface with processes. So usually they are present in the midline, in the palate or on the lingual side in the mandible. So how we remove the maxillary tori? First we have to give the Y-shape incision in the palatal tissue from the mid-palatal line, and then we expose the tori, and we have to remove in the segments to prevent the exposure of the palatal floor roof. And after removing the bony chunk we have to close it with the suture. Now comes on the mandibular tori. They are present on the lingual aspect in the premolar area, and gradually they are increasing in size, may interfere with the speech and the sometimes tongue movements, so rarely require surgical intervention when dentition is present, but after removal of the dentition there is the required for the contouring of the mandibular tori. So we have to give a linear incision on the alveolar ridge on both sides wherever they are present, and expose the tori area and trim with the bone file or the ronger or rotary instruments. Then after removing, then we close it with the sutures. Now unsupported hypermobile tissue, it is caused due to the resorption of the underlying bone or ill-fitting dentures. Treatment modalities: augmentation of the bone, soft tissue excision, and complications are the obliteration of the buccal vestibule due to the undermining. These are the diagram. That the red is the excess tissue that we have to remove with the blade and then suture it. Inflammatory fibrous hyperplasia, that also known as the Epulis fissuratum, commonly caused by the ill-fitting dentures. In the initial stage, we have to give the soft liner on the denture surface. Then if the fibrosis is significant, then we go for the excision of the hyperplastic tissue and with the electrocautery, and or we can do through the surgical excision. So this is the picture showing the hyperplasia fibrous tissue in the buccal vestibule in the maxillary region, and we have to remove it with the cautery or blade. Inflammatory papillary hyperplasia of the palate. Mechanical irritation, poor oral hygiene, and fungal infection are the main etiological factor for the hyperplasia of palatal tissues, and it appears as a multinodular projections in the palatal tissue. So treatment, what we do, we initially we adjust the denture heights and the base of the denture with tissue conditioner. If there is no relief, then we go for the electrosurgical excision and abrade with a rotating handpiece. So these are the treatment modalities for the hyperplasia of palatal tissues. So this is the picture showing the procedure. Now comes on the labial frenectomy. Frenum is a very thin band of a fibrous tissue covered with a mucosa extending from the lip and cheek to the alveolar periosteum. So sometimes they are interfere with the adaptation of the processes. So how we remove it? We go with the surgical techniques, that is the simple excision, Z-plasty and localized vestibuloplasty. So these are the pictures showing the incisions and various steps in the removing of the labial frenum. After achieving the hemostat, we go for the suturing and release the frenum for the adaptation of the prosthesis. Again diagrammatic presentation, for the Z-plasty, giving the incision in a Z pattern and closes the two wings showing in the picture. So these are the lingual frenum in the mandible. Sometimes it hinder with the speech problems, so we have to remove with the two curved hemostat and cut it and suture it after achieving the hemostasis. Next augmentation procedure we will discuss in the next lecture in the part 2.